Hey folks, thanks for joining the Rock and Metal Guardian today. Hope you're doing well wherever you may find yourselves. I'm Dane, your host. Today I would like to talk to you about the bands and artists I just don't get. So this is a get to know you type video. Again, this is about the bands and artists I just don't get. Now there is no order here with the exception of the first one I'm about to talk to you about, because this I think is the worst of the worst. And so this artist is Captain Beefheart and his Magic Band. Now, I've tried over the years. I would take breaks and then come back and listen. I would take long breaks and come back and listen. Okay, what is it about this band that so many people find endearing? So I will return to them from time to time, give them a listen. All of the discography, not just Trout Mask Replica, and still to this day, I just don't get it. Essentially what it boils down to me, in my music taste personally, I find and hear no music talent here whatsoever. And I'll leave it at that. Number two is a band that I understand the impact. You have a vocalist who does not sing, but rather shouts. And he has a nasally type vocal range, if that's a vocal range to begin with, and the bass player essentially for the most part, maybe a bit of an exaggeration, plays the same bass notes or lines over and over again in each song. And this band rather essentially has only one real album. They're a one and done. I like the guitar player. Too bad he did not play in a different band. And I'm talking about the Sex Pistols. I don't get them. People talk about them as if they invented punk. They are not the first punk band to arrive on the scene. They're one of the most, if not the most influential, as far as I'm concerned, the best punk band of all time. And this is where critic Martin Popoff and I agree. Not that we've ever spoken to each other, but he and I agree. Our opinions are that the Damned are the best punk band of all time. Anyway, so I just don't get the Sex Pistols. Number three is Bob Dylan. Shocking, right? A lot of people love Bob Dylan. I think he's a great lyricist. I think he's a great poet even. And you can get the collection of all his songs, lyrics-wise, up to a point. And All Along the Watchtower is one of the best lyrics of any song, if you ask me, and therefore poetry. But I cannot get past his voice. Number four, Van de Graaff Generator. I remember going to a workshop in California, so I flew from New Orleans to California. This is many years ago. And one of the guys there I struck up a conversation with says, "Oh, you like progressive rock? You should check out Van de Graaff Generator." So I immediately go to my bed, my hotel room that night, and get online and I order a live album and what's proclaimed to be their masterpiece, their magnum opus called Pawn Hearts. So I order them. I fly back a couple days later. A day later passes. They come to my doorstep. I put them in. I could not have been more disappointed the way that my colleague at the workshop talked them up. I do not have to have a guitarist in a band for me to like them. But most of the time, there has to be a guitar player for me to like them. I like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, but I don't like everything that they do. Occasionally, Greg Lake plays the acoustic guitar, maybe even the electric, but for the most part it's absent. The keyboards is what makes up for that, right? But the worst part of Van de Graaff Generator is Peter Hamill's vocals. It's more of a talking than it. You can't call it singing. That's more talking than anything. And he has certain phrasing and inflections, and this doesn't do anything for me. And a saxophonist cannot take the place of guitar player. I like Soft Machine a lot, despite the fact that they don't have a guitarist. Well, up to a point later they do, of course, Alan Holdsworth. But before that, there's some great stuff there, a lot of great stuff, and there's no guitar playing. So it depends, but here it doesn't work for me. Next is, counting two as one, Joy Division and New Order. One person that I used to know back in my early college days, undergraduate days, said, "Oh, but they're so heavy," despite the fact that they're not, a rock band or... Well, they're a rock band, excuse me, but they're not heavy metal or hard rock. That's what I meant. My friend said that they had a type of heaviness to them. I don't hear it. I like Blue Monday, and that's about it. It's that long song. And I forget which of the two. I think it's New Order. Anyway, I always forget which one's a spin-off of the other. Anyway, the next one is XTC. I don't get them at all. In a similar vein, Love and Rockets, don't get them at all. Number 8 is The Cure. I cannot stand Robert Smith's vocals. Number 9, this could well be number 2 after Captain Beefheart. This is a band I've never gotten. And before I mention who they are, they talked about in forming the band, they did it because they wanted to go against the convention of typical rock music. They wanted to go against the status quo of verse, chorus, verse. Okay, I get that. I buy into all the time, or quite frequently, bands who are not traditional or unorthodox. Excuse me. Or go against the grain, or break the status quo, or break the mold, or whatever phrasing we want to use. And then they go and do, later in their career, a pop song, Burning Down the House. Yeah, I'm talking about the Talking Heads. I think the bass player is fabulous, but it's not enough for me. As a bass player, I appreciate what she does, but as far as an overall music goes, you got this guy in a giant suit, 6 times bigger than him, dancing and acting like a goofball on stage. That's not rock and roll. And then the video for Same as It Ever Was, that's not rock and roll in my opinion. I don't get this at all. I've never understood them. Next band I've tried so hard, another progressive rock band to love and like. I don't get them at all, and I've tried. Gentle Giant. A friend of mine said back in the day, start with Octopus. And I occasionally go back to it, and as soon as I hear those opening vocals, it sounds like the Mikado on that first song. And so occasionally I would borrow someone's copy or just get it on YouTube and skip that song and start from there. And I get through the album, and I'm not liking what I'm hearing. Anyway, the next one, my friends or colleagues rather, or classmates in high school really took to this band. They were a college band, the Violent Femmes. I never understood them. I don't get them at all. Not my cup of tea. The next one is Gong. I am, you are, they are, we are crazy. That doesn't do anything for me. And I know that's just one song, but this whole Planet Pixie stuff, and they have a trilogy. I wanted to like them because Steve Hillage, is talked about in the community is such a great guitar player. I'm just not getting it. So next is Widespread Panic, and that's all I have to say about them. The next is the Grateful Dead. There's nothing by them that I like as hard as I've tried. I mean, a friend of mine saying, you got to start with Blues for Allah. Great album cover. Didn't work. So then I tried American Beauty and Terrapin Station and some other stuff, and I've gone through their discography a few times. Just those last 2 albums are dreadful. Those I think are the worst. But anyway, that's neither here or there. But this doesn't do anything for me. In a similar vein, Fish doesn't do anything for me. The next is a rockabilly / punk band, more rockabilly than punk. They fuse the two. I'm talking about the Cramps. Doesn't do anything for me. Next, I so wanted to love this band as the next one following, Devin Townsend. I just don't get it. Next is Porcupine Tree. Supposed to be progressive rock, and they're classified as that. I don't hear the rock part. It's too soft and mellow for me. Doesn't do anything for me. I need some more heft in the guitar playing. I need some crunch. It's not there. The next is the band, and I'm going to leave it at that. The next band is one a friend told me I would love, considering how much I like the Kinks. Talking about the Jam. I kind of get the similarity, but it doesn't work for me. Next is Europe. And some people lately have said, oh, you got to listen to their new stuff. The last 3 or 4 albums I've tried. Again, doesn't work for me. It's different. I like it better than the Final Countdown, but doesn't work for me. And Europe, I'm sorry. I used to joke about this in high school, and I'm borrowing from one of my teachers. My science teacher said that they heard this song on MTV, and it's like, the guy clearly didn't do his research, because part of the lyrics are, about being light years away. Venus is less than a light year away from Earth, and you couldn't live on Venus because there's no oxygen to breathe. And putting that aside, we're being pedantic and whatnot, but I still think it's funny. So with so many light years to go, again, Venus is less than a light year away from Earth. So anyway, but besides that, it's really about the music, and I just don't get it. And since we're on the topic of hair metal, if you want to call it that, Winger, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I never understood Winger. I listened to the new album, and I've gone back and listened to the other parts of the the rest of the discography, excuse me, and I don't like anything, sorry. And even though I didn't put this on my list, now that it's hit me, White Lion. I like the guitar player, but I don't like the music that goes with the guitar. So that's one big issue I have with hair metal. There's a video, my love-hate relationship with hair metal, maybe down the road. Moving on from hair metal to krautrock, Kraftwerk. I don't get them at all. The next band I so much wanted to love, and that is Marillion. I get Fish's vocals are a lot like Peter Gabriel, but I just can't get past the music. Some of the vocals are great. The lyrics are poetic and prophetic, but the music just doesn't do anything for me. Excuse me. Next is the Dave Matthews Band. I remember when they first got started. Dave Matthews talked about how he didn't want to be a cliched commercial, and that's exactly what he became in quite early. Not my cup of tea. Next, in a similar vein, Imagine Dragons. Next, number 27, Tom Waits. Don't get his gruff style vocals at all. Next is Sting. I like some of his lyrics. When he in The Police, some great lyrics in Wrapped Around Your Finger, Caught Between the Scylla and Crypti. So he brings that poetic type lyrics to his solo work. Had to stop in my tracks for fear of walking on the mines I laid. Great lyrics. Don't like the music. Next is Korn. Next. Number 30 is Opeth. The guitar playing here is amazing, but like so many metal bands in this genre, I can't get past the witch-like vocals. They've gone away from that into more progressive waters, and I'm not liking that stuff either. Next, I could have put them in the top 3 here. Limp Bizkit, and that's all I have to say. Next, same thing. I'm going to mention their name and move on. Coldplay, you have a guitar player, but I don't hear much in the way of guitar, if anything at all. Number 33, Carcass. Number 34, Cannibal Corpse. Number 35, Between the Buried and Me. This next one is difficult to talk about because I keep going back to them and wanting to like something. And in fact, there is something I like, and it's the reason I got started with them back in the 90s when a friend of mine, at the time and co-worker at the music store, Sam Goody, or Music Light, it was Sam Goody, Baton Rouge. I was going there for LSU for college, and he put on an album that's covers albums. You have Love Lies Bleeding from Elton John, and this is, I can't remember the name of the album, and it's quite good. So, and then I listened to the live album, and I thought that was okay. So then I started listening to the studio stuff, and then I was out after that. But I keep going back. I remember getting 6 Degrees of Separation because it got really great reviews. So let me go back and try them again. And I remember the opening track sounding like Christmas music. I'll go back every once in a while to images and words, or words and image, and I so want to like this band, and I just don't. People said if you like Rush, you'll like them. I don't see the comparison. I see that they're progressive rock, but I guess part of the problem is when I listen. Well, first of all, I don't like James LaBrie's vocals. I think they work well with covered songs, but with the band is original material. There's just something that just doesn't resonate with me. I don't like the vocals for original music. And then as far as guitar playing goes, Petrucci is a virtuoso, but it sounds sterile and lacks emotion and soul. I know some people say it resonates and has, but for me it doesn't have emotion and soul. It just people hear things differently. So I so want to like this band, and I just don't. Next is Social Distortion, and I sleep well at night not liking this band. It's that throaty punk voice, nasally. I just can't get into that. It doesn't do anything for me. It sounds tried and cliched. The next is Morbid Angel. The next is Death. Next is Obituary. This next one I have a bit to say about. I remember a friend of mine having the album on vinyl, and I go over to listen to it. And side 1 sounds like the Partridge Family, but the name of the band is Coven. And then side 2, I said, I don't even want you to play it because it's essentially what it is. Essentially, is a black mass, and I don't want that. I don't want to hear that. I don't sleep at night if someone plays Tubular Bells, especially the first 3 minutes, because it makes me think of that movie, The Exorcist, and now I'm not going to sleep at night just thinking about that. I know it sounds immature or weird or odd, but it's just who I am. Yeah, I would never own Coven, anything by Coven, an actual black mass. I would not play that. I don't want that in my house. Next is I Hate God. They originated here in New Orleans, and there's the album that's supposed to be their magnum opus is Take in Case of Pain or something like that, and the problem I have for the most part is the vocals. It sounds like someone a young boy who's throwing a temper tantrum because he can't get his way. It's god awful. It's similar to some of the vocals in the band ISIS. I like some of ISIS, but some of it's good, some of it's bad. And when it ventures in these waters where it sounds like someone throwing a temper tantrum because they're not getting their way, I'm out. The next is, I missed one. Let's see, did I miss one? No, I didn't. The next in a similar vein is Crowbar. I remember them being on Beavis and Butthead. That's the first taste of them. I said, well, let's not have Beavis and Butthead ruin it. Let me go out and listen to the album without the cartoony guys, making fun of them and laughing and stuff. And I can't get past the Cookie Monster vocals. Like in a similar vein but different style of vocals, like Captain Beefheart, there's vocal with respect to the vocalist only. There's no talent here, and I can't get past the lack of talent. Why is it that some bands, the vocalist has little to no talent I can tolerate or even like, but here I just don't. You broke my heart. I just can't get past that. I'm sorry. Next, the B-52s. This is like 50s music, party music, garage rock kind of. I'm out. Bauhaus, I don't get them at all, although I like a few songs by Peter Murphy as a solo artist. Next is Mars Volta. Again, hey, Dane, you got to check this. You like prog rock, check this band out. Deloused in the Crematorium. At one point, I listened to their whole discography a couple times. It's not resonating with me still as I try to go back. Next is Primus. I remember listening to the first album by Primus. I think it's their first album, Frizzle Fry, back in my early college days, 1991. It first came out. I said, this kind of makes me think of King Crimson. Then I go back and listen to it a second time. I was like, what did I like in this the first time I heard it? And I go back and listen to it successfully. It just doesn't do anything for me. I saw them live a couple times. Les Claypool's a great bass player, but I outside of that alone, I just can't get into the music. Overkill. I like this and I like that and I hate this and I hate that, and that's just one song. Yeah, there's something about them I just don't like. I so wanted to like Overkill, but I don't. The next band in a similar vein, another heavy metal band, Savatage. I've so wanted to like them. I've tried and tried. I just don't like them. The Buzzcocks, a punk band. I don't get them at all. I don't have this written down, but now that I'm thinking of the Buzzcocks, another band that comes to mind is Camper Van Beethoven. I don't get them at all. The next band, I've never understood them, Devo, and that's all I'll say. The next band I've tried to like, some of my students try to get me into them. I checked them out over and over again, and the band is called Thrice. Alchemy Index, they said that's where you begin. There are two of them. I just don't get it. Next is Eloy. I've tried and tried and tried. It doesn't work for me. This next one, perhaps one of the worst in this list, is Poison. Don't feel nothing but a good time. That's a pop song. Don't call yourselves glam metal. You're pop metal. Okay, you have some kick butt guitar playing from CC DeVille at times, but the rest of it's just pop. So you're essentially a pop band disguised as glam metal. Maybe that's what glam metal is in some cases. Maybe there's a video. Anyway, I like some glam metal. This is not one of them. Jackal. Sorry, no. This next one would, like Jackal, would fall under what I call flavor of the month bands, or here today, gone tomorrow bands. So here today, gone tomorrow bands, or flavor of the month bands. Blue Murder, John Sykes, great guitar player. I don't get this band at all. Next, another band I don't get, of course. Guitar playing doesn't go with the vocals. Alcatraz. Martin Popoff loves this next band. He's described them essentially as the Beatles. I don't hear it when I listen to them. I so wanted to like them. Taking Martin Popoff's suggestion, enough's enough. Don't like them. Finally, this band is supposed to have a 70s vibe, and then later on they have a heavy metal vibe. Manila Road. I so wanted to like this band. I just don't. So there you have it, everybody. 62 or 63 bands. It wasn't initially 60, but I added a couple, 2 or 3, so 62 or 63 bands. I just don't get. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.